Hello and welcome to today's edition of Political Voice. I'm Kayla Abraham. There's a lot happening in the political space in Nigeria, but we have two stories on our radar today. First, we'll look at the latest happening in Labour Party, particularly the meeting that was held yesterday and produced Senator Dede Usman as the interim national chairman. Also, if I were Tinubu, I would have sacked all ministers. APC Chieftain advises President Bola Tinubu. Now joining us here in the studio to discuss this is Mr. Dede Ferguson, a seasoned journalist, a social critic and a political analyst. Welcome to the show this evening, Mr. Ferguson.
Good evening.
And virtually we have joining us Dr. Femi Dede Ferguson, a social scientist, activist, political commentator, an author and a lecturer. Welcome to the show, Dr. Ferguson.
Thank you. I'm happy to be with you guys.
All right. Well, before we get right into the stories, let's take a global overview of happenings around the world. Vladimir Putin has claimed that Russia supports Vice President Kamala Harris over Donald Trump in November's presidential election. Speaking at the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok today, Putin said Russia's favorite was formerly President Joe Biden before he withdrew from the race in July, but that the country would now support Harris. Putin also joked that Harris laughs so expressively and infectiously that she must be doing well. The Kremlin previously reacted with caution to news of Harris's presidential candidacy. Makwani Senator Dan Manzo has launched a scathing attack on Raila Odinga's campaign for the African Union Commission AUC chairperson, describing it as a big joke. Speaking at a recent church event, Manzo criticized the lack of diplomatic support for Raila's bid, pointing out that the campaign launch at State House Nairobi saw minimal representation from key African leaders and diplomats. The senator, while expressing his support for Raila, highlighted significant gaps in the campaign strategy. He argued that the absence of top-tier political figures and diplomats signals a poorly managed effort. Manzo warned that if Raila fails to secure the AUC role, the blame would fall on President William Ruto, accusing him of not providing adequate support to ensure the campaign's success. Manzo's comments come amid mounting scrutiny of Raila's bid for the AU's top job. President Ruto, however, has urged Kenyans to support Raila, stating that his win would elevate Kenya's standing on the international stage. The ODM leader has since announced a temporary break from local politics to focus on the continental race. We'll now go on a short break, and when we return, we will delve into today's topics of discussion. Stay tuned.
With gratitude to God for a life well spent, the family of Ayinla Fatunke announces the passing away of our father, grandfather, uncle, and brother, Pa Benjamin Babatunde Ayinla Fatunke, who passed away on the 30th of July 2024 at the age of 96. Service of songs and wake at Genesis Hall, Yaba Baptist Church, 19 to 23 Commercial Avenue by Raymond Street, Yaba, Lagos. Time 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Lying in state between 9 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. and celebration of life service by 10 a.m. at the same venue. Interment follows immediately. Announcer Mayowa Fatunke for the family. With sincere condolences from the Voice of the People family.
Welcome back to Political Voice and VOP TV. A chieftain of the Labour Party, Callistus Uju Okafor, has declared that the stakeholders meeting of the party convened by Governor Alex Otti of Abia State is unconstitutional and an effort in futility. Okafor, in a statement yesterday, said the meeting that produced Senator Dede Usman as the interim national chairman was illegal, urging Nigerians and party supporters to be wary of detractors. He cited Article 11 of the party's 2009 constitution and the consent judgment delivered by Honorable Gio Kolawole on March 20, 2018, to further fault the stakeholders meeting. In his words, I quote, "We want to bring to the notice of the general public that the Jamboree gathering tagged Labour Party stakeholders meeting held in Umuahia, Abia State is unconstitutional and not known to any organization of the party. Dr. Alex Otti and Mr. Peter Obi do not have the constitutional authority to convene any party meeting," end quote. Okafor also challenged Governor Otti to produce a letter issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, authorizing him to convene the meeting. You do recall that the Labour Party's National Working Committee, led by Julius Abure, distanced itself from the outcome of the meeting. In a press release, the party denounced the meeting as illegal and unconstitutional. Now, Mr. Fanimon, the Labour Party held an extended stakeholders meeting yesterday in Umuahia, Abia State, or was hosted by the governor of the state as well, that's Alex Otti, I beg your pardon, and he had the big wigs of the party at this particular stakeholders meeting. This meeting also produced an interim national chairman in the passing of Esther Usman, a one-time Minister of Finance and a one-term senator. I'll also bring it to your notice that she's the first, female caretaker, chairman of a caretaker committee. She also was charged to lead 28 other selected members to reorganize the party and hold ward to national congresses. Now, with the impressive turnout in the meeting and harmonious resolution of all issues leading to the setting up of the committee, can we say that the storm in Labour Party is over and restored, and calm is restored?
The storm cannot be over, given the position of Abure-led, now we can say, erstwhile leadership of the party. The storm cannot be over. Yes, on constitutional pedestal, Abure is right. But there are some complications in all of this. Abure's tenure ended in June. And there is no part of the Constitution that allows him to continue after his tenure. And what comes after the expiration of NWC of that party, according to that Constitution, is the inauguration of a caretaker committee preparatory to another election that will usher in a new set of leadership in the party. You see, yesterday they came up with the fact that APC has infiltrated their ranks.
Yes. And
they are the destabilizing factor in the party. Now today, Abure is saying whatever happened in Umuahia is null and void. It's still precipitating another round of crisis. A constitutional crisis cannot be resolved without going to the courts. And the more they go into this unnecessary crisis, the more the party gets more fragmented. And the more they get more fragmented, the more the icing on the cake of the ruling party. And so, for me, I feel that rather than escalate this crisis, which is likely to happen, because Abure will not allow peace to reign. He wants to hold on to power at all costs. And the party says, if we must move forward, Apampa, Abure, let's discard them. Apampa lost in court. Abure lost when his tenure expired. And there cannot be a vacuum. And if today, the mistake we are making is party leadership has since left party hierarchy, but either the governor or the president automatically becomes the leader of parties now in Nigeria, which ordinarily shouldn't be so. But we have found ourselves seeing it as normal.
Okay.
So today, the biggest fish in Labour Party is the governor. That is the highest political office that Labour has attained. Perhaps if Labour had produced Senate President or Speaker, then we now begin. The highest position Labour Party has acquired, has attained, is the governorship. And there is only one governor for Labour Party in the whole of the 36 states, which was Alex,
Governor Alex Otti of Abia State.
Abia State.
Okay.
So, and if he is convening a meeting, I think Labour Party should also realize that the only way to douse the tension and to move forward and prepare for another election in 2027 is to come up with that compromise, that level of tolerance, so that there will be cohesion in the party. But I don't see it happening with the way it has started.
All right, thank you very much for that one, Mr. Fanimo, because I asked this first question more so because of the rumblings still coming from the Julius Abure camp, which you mentioned. And he says that the Umuahia stakeholders meeting has no utility value, and it's not approved by the party and not having any letter also from INEC. You did mention INEC as well. Well, this view has also been supported by some other stakeholders of the party. I mean, they even cited Article 11, which we read earlier. Now, my question is to you, Dr. Ferguson. So what is the position as this release by Abure has set a stage for another round of crisis?
Well, as we used to say, the law is an ass. Law have two edges to each side, and it's not a respect of anybody. Actually, I'm not conversant with the Labour Party constitution, but the constitution cannot be far from every constitution that's approved by INEC. Therefore, Abure have a say legally concerning anything that took place in Labour Party as I'm talking to you now. In politics, we say morality have no business in politics and in law. You cannot go to court and begin to quote morality, even though it's a factor in it. The same thing is in politics. The only thing that the Labour Party have done is to step into the arena and see what they can be able to do. And when we talk about Labour Party, there's a component that made up the Labour Party. One is the National Executive Council of the party. Two is the National Working Committee of the party and BOT. At three then, and all this BOT, National Working Committee, National Executive Committee are made up of the governor and the senators and House of Rep, etc. are all part and parcel of this except BOT. Even though they have a say, because the state they belong have a BOT member representing in that party. Therefore, what they have done is not the wrong thing. It's covered by morality, covered by the party constitution, but not fully that they should take over that platform called Labour Party. We should be very careful when we are doing certain things. Yes, Otti did a right thing with P2B and others and the senators under the platform of Labour Party supporting him, but at the same time, but I know they might have gone through, because in every law there must be a loophole. That's why I said that law is an ass. It doesn't respect anybody. They might have explored some certain loophole within the party constitution to be able to, call that meeting that housed a lot of people. They have done the right thing, they have taken the right direction, but at the same time, something needs to be done quickly, because whether you like it or not, that's politics. It's not a new thing, and nobody will even blame a ruling party for instigating, or even PDP, or even any other party, even APGA, that is hoping that they've got the entire Southeast through their the political structuring and everything. So we cannot just only say the ruling party, the APC, no. PDP can also instigate, APGA can also instigate any other party who is eyeing that place. So for that, it's part of politics. It's part of Nigerian politics in terms of party structures. Is the survival of the fittest. Therefore, any other person can be able to, will be interested in what's happening in Labour Party. Okay, so it's left for Labour Party to put their house in order. As we are talking now, Abure is a beautiful bride. Let me tell you the truth. We know what is in Nigerian politics and political party structure and political party politics and strategies and manipulations. We know what it's all about. As we are talking now, APC will be fueling him, PDP will be fueling him, and the main thing is to be able to destabilize Labour Party. For you to know, majority of the people in major party in the Labour Party are from PDP and APGA, especially those in the southeast and south, and the youth from the southwest and north central. So they'll be fighting for the soul of APGA. What Otti and Peter is doing to save the soul and body of Labour Party. Therefore, but it must be done with respect to the personality and persons of the members of Abure-led National Working Committee. They must be carried along. They will do everything, present anything for them to bring peace. If they want to go to court, well, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's going to linger for a long time.
All right. Oh, thank you for that one, Dr. Ferguson. Mr. Fanimore, you did mention that Abure's tenure ended in June 10, which some stakeholders at the party also corroborated that his tenure ended June 10th, to be precise. Or do you think that the Umuahia stakeholders meeting did not factor in this point before it's convened? And now that is to seek legal interpretation of the Labour Party constitution vis-a-vis the tenure of the NWC.
You see, as long as the doctor said the law is an ass, to the extent that the law is made for man and not man made for the law. We had a problem with the constitution in this country, sometimes in the past, when Jonathan was to become the president after the demise of Yar'Adua. And they had to use the doctrine of necessity to resolve it. And that shows that if there is that political will and the need to forge ahead, they could also look at the other indices beyond the court of law to resolve their crisis. But like he also said, there is every tendency that what Okonkwo said yesterday could be right. Because what is the strength of Abure? To destabilize and to declare what happened in Umuahia null and void. If not, that it was being goaded by some external factors, fifth columnists outside of LP. And it will be unfortunate because I was beginning to see Labour Party as the strong opposition party that we require towards 2027. And if they have to dissipate their energy on all of this, then that means we don't have an opposition again, because PDP has failed us as opposition party.
You think so? They don't have any more stand?
They don't have that strength.
But now Labour Party looks like it is getting them. I mean, now there's an appointment of the...
coming up until this yesterday meeting.
Yes.
Although Labour Party is not really coming up the way I expected, but Peter Obi was standing in for them. Most of the time, it's Peter Obi that reacts. And the reaction should come mainly from the party secretariat. Whatever Peter Obi is saying should be an icing on the cake for the party in playing the opposition role. But unfortunately, the reverse is the case. Peter Obi does the criticism while the Labour Party is busy fighting themselves. And where would this lead them? I was expecting that they would have allowed peace to reign, reach compromise, look at the larger picture, look at what they want to do in 2027, and then close their ranks. And for God's sake, it's an opportunity for us to even try a woman at the ends of affairs of a party.
Do you think it's an opportunity?
It's an opportunity.
Okay.
Let's see how far she can go.
Well, I will come to that because I have more questions on that, especially concerning the individual herself, who is Esther Usman. But before that, Dr. Ferguson, some people have stated that the intricate and complex structure of the Labour Party is a kind of obstacle to its management and progress, you know, citing several layers of interest and groups like even the NLC, TUC and Political Commission, among others. How true is this?
No. Those layers should be a good factor, you know, and this is to help Labour Party to garner support from every nook and cranny of Nigeria political structure. No. Anybody who is pointing at that is no. You don't know what it's called political, you know, structure in this country. The more, the merrier. NLC, TUC, and obedient group. Actually, the Labour Party is supposed to be one of the most major political organization in Africa because of the Nigeria Labour Congress is the biggest labor union in Africa. And with them saying this is our own, throwing their weight behind Labour Party, I think Labour Party ought to have been ahead of all. They're supposed to be the shakers and movers of Nigeria political landscape. Therefore, it have no problem. It's a matter of, you know, each person, each layer, each sector knowing the role to play in this whole platform called Labour Party. I don't think it's going to, you know, the only person who might have problem is the obedient movement. Because when people are talking about, they're not talking about the P2B factor. They're not talking about the obedient movement. Because many a time Peter is just talking about Labour Party. He's talking about his own obedient movement, which is the power behind Labour Party now. And that is why I wouldn't want P2B to leave that platform. Because if P2B leave that platform, many of his followers, the youngsters, the people, the professionals, the people that you don't even know they are part of Labour Party, okay, we follow him and leave that particular platform. Therefore, obedient group should also be considered when we are talking about Nigeria Labour Congress, TUC, and etc. Therefore, the more the groups come together, and that is what is actually giving the federal government or giving the opposition party like APC, the ruling party, that's what is giving them concern, if not because of such the three group, obedient group, Nigeria Labour Congress, and TUC. This three is the only thing that is giving APC headache. If they can be able to unite themselves together and move forward, I don't think there will be any problem. And it is not difficult for them to come together, because if it's not difficult for TUC and NLC to work together, it should not be difficult for the third person, which is a obedient movement, to work with them. No. All
right.
It will even increase their strength and give them the sense of belonging and everything.
Okay.
Nigeria political arrangement.
Mr. Fanimo, I would like to redirect this question to you. Now, mainly speaking about the NLC, because you do recall that Ajero and Abure were involved in a row. And recently, you know, Abure did come out to seek truth finally with Ajero over the NLC Labour Party issue. Now, we know that Abure's tenure has ended. But then looking at the history with Ajero and Abure, who was the chairman of the party, would you say they are the major obstacles to the party?
To some extent, I think that imbroglio had been partially resolved.
Yes, like I said, it's been resolved now.
But the point is, there's no way you can talk about Labour Party without factoring
NLC.
the Labour movement.
Yes.
Just the Labour movement.
Union.
Comprising the NLC and the TUC. You understand? You see, Labour Party was like a sitting duck where you can just go and do cherry picking until Peter Obi came to the scene, and suddenly they just found themselves soaring. I think the closest attempt for Labour Party to play itself into relevance was when the former governor of Ondo State, Segun Mimiko, used that platform to become the governor of Ondo State. And as soon as he got that ticket and won that election, he quickly decamped to PDP. You recall that? So But this is an opportunity for Labour Party using the strength of the Labour movement, using the mantra of what Labour movement represents to show that there's a viral opposition that is positioned, well positioned, to give the current government a run for its money. But if they don't close their ranks, they would have disappointed their followers, they would have disappointed Nigerians, because they are not really doing the opposition job they ought to do now. And when the bird comes to roost, Nigerians will ask questions. That we didn't invest our hope in you for you to begin to do internal wranglings rather than face the job you are supposed to do. And so if care is not taken, Abors, the caretaker committee, the party hierarchy, they would end up roasting themselves.
Very interesting that you say that, because, you know, you did speak earlier about infiltration, the party, you know, lamenting infiltration of other parties into their party, which is really the cause, or one of the major causes of their party crisis. Well, what do you think is the way forward with this particular situation now, which is the infiltration of, you know, the ruling party, that is APC, in the Labour Party, which is also leading to this crisis?
You see, the infiltration, or whatever you call it, is just an assumption. We don't have
You think
facts.
it's an assumption?
It's an assumption.
But we've seen
facts.
many people complain about this.
Yes, people can complain. But the point is, we don't have the facts. You see that Labour Party, APC sent delegates to Labour Party's meeting yesterday in Umuahia. You can't defend that. Is it that you saw Labour Party win, APC win Labour Party stalwarts with money, position, or anything? We have not heard that. So for me, I consider it as an assumption. But if Labour Party will want to really do Nigerians, particularly their followers, any good, I think they should concentrate on house cleaning. They should clean their house within. Because you can't say because you have too many rats in your compound, and then you are now calling the next neighbor that is the one that sent rats to your house. The only thing you do is to kill the rats. Then let the neighbor come around and say, why did you kill the rat in your house? That's when you now ask him, why are you prognosing into my affairs in my own house? What is the essence of this meddlesomeness? That's when you begin to ask those questions. But right now, you are even failing whatever assumptions that APC is infiltrating that party by what you are doing. Yes, you may say it's not constitutional for Obi. Granted that it's not constitutional. But there must be a way out of the logjam. And in providing this way, all of you should have come together and say, okay, now, for the sake of, if not for personal interest and ego problem, for the sake of this party, okay, I am relinquishing this position, which I ought to have relinquished since June 10th. And for the sake of this party that looks promising, let us allow the caretaker committee to conduct a proper election that will usher in the NEC, NWC, and the BOT for this party, so that we can now chart a new course and then focus on the next election, how we're going to take over power from the government. But now, there is so much distractions that they are not even focusing on anything 2027. They are busy fighting themselves. So
you believe that the distractions are not mainly the infiltration like they say?
I don't want to believe that, because you are capable, instead of Lai Mohammed, when he was in opposition, was breathing down the neck of PDP, to the extent that even those in PDP were not too comfortable. So it was easy for APC then to infiltrate the ranks of PDP, even while in government. And it turned out that some PDP governors decamped to APC before the tenure of that government. So why don't you, as opposition now, begin to do that? for APC, given all we've been going through in the last 15 months? Why? Rather than do that, you are dissipating your energy on internal wranglings. So they must come up with a consensus, a solution of which will be backed by compromise. Okay, for the sake of this party, for the sake of the growth of this country, I am relinquishing this position. I'm allowing the Dede Usman-led caretaker committee to conduct election, and the constitution does not preclude you from contesting another round. You have just done first term, Abure. So you could also file in to say you want to contest the second term. Nobody is going to stop you. And why don't you just prepare yourself for the second term in office rather than bringing crisis?
Speaking of second term, Dr. Ferguson, I mean, with this stakeholders meeting and with the reactions we got from Abure and other stakeholders on the other hand, do you foresee another day in court?
But notwithstanding, what I want to, Abure will be standing on something. Abure has gone to Nnewi to go and conduct his own, the so-called, we say, volunteer non-fit injury. You cannot complain for what you ask for. Whenever you are into running a political platform, you know such a thing have to come up. But I want to tell us, look, let's just face the facts. The Labour Party is lucky to have a governorship candidate, numerous senators and House of Reps. Abure cannot be able to, Abure can meet up. I'm telling the truth. It happened in Apuga when the founder of the All Progressive Grand Alliance was pushed away from there because of some certain, allegations against the man called Chekwas Korea. And then because P2B won the election, and they fought that battle until P2B finished 8 years, another person came up and they finished. They are still fighting the battle. One day after the death of Ojukwu, the man walked out to go and form UPP, which he later matched with APC, which did not hold. He later come back now before they went to court again and begin to fight and then everything. And his own side won the election. Even today they were in the court because they refused the Supreme Court judgment. They went to court today, which Appeal Court had to affirm. Why did this last from 2013 now? Since that 2013, the governor side have been producing chairman. Victor, Victor, who is now the Senate under Labour Party, was a chairman. The left another person come called Oye. Oye come the brother because it's the governor that dictates. So every political party constitution respects the office of the governor. So we don't talk, they'll be distracting, but I want to tell you that Labour Party, so far they have a governor and who is involved and the financial. Do you don't think that the other political party will be giving Abure money to be going to party, to distract, but at the end of the day, he's going nowhere. But the best thing for Abure to do now is for him to, surrender and come to the party, except he don't want to be in the Labour Party again. If he wants the best thing for him, I'm sure people will talk to him, talk sense to him. He will agree with them because with the person of P2B, with the person of this man astute management experts and who are very vast in political boardroom politics and everything, people like P2B and the Lex Otti and so many of them that surround them, they are old horse, so Abure cannot be able to match them. Going to court is waste of time and waste the little money they might receive from some certain quarters. But for going to court, anybody can go to court. You go to court, but I'm not making any headway out of it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ferguson. Mr. Fanimo, you spoke earlier about the new chairman of the caretaker committee in the party, which is that of Esther Usman. Now, she's been appointed to lead a 29-member committee tasked with reorganizing the party and setting it on a path to electoral success. And with the participation of women in the political stratosphere, while challenges have been persisting and corruption remains a concern. Now, Nadi was rearranged in 2022 on a 17-count charge bordering on conspiracy and unlawful retention to the tune of 1.5 billion naira. Now, does she really have the capacity, in reorganizing this party and bringing it, together? Like you've been saying, and everybody has been talking about, looking at her antecedents and the controversies surrounding her.
You see, Dede Usman was just unfortunate to be a member of Jonathan's cabinet. And everything was rooted towards denigrating and shaming anybody that ever worked with Jonathan at that time. And I expected that if EFCC has enough evidence, they would have gone ahead with the prosecution. Why are they discarding the prosecution after arraignment? Because you know the way EFCC works around here. They will catch you and then begin to ask you, somebody said you stole. How much did you steal? When did you steal? How did you steal? Who assisted you to steal? Why did you steal? You understand? So it could be at the point of prosecution that they now realize that there was no evidence strong enough to get conviction that they had to stop, in this case of Dede Usman. And between 2022 and now, that's about clear 2 years.
Yes.
And there has not been any further arraignment. Why is it so? More so, she's not even linked to the ruling party. That should tell you something. Now, the persona of Dede Usman, let me tell you, that woman has a Midas touch.
When you say that, what do you mean?
It's apart from the natural influence of that gender over a preponderance of men that are going to be, she will be surrounded by those men.
Yes.
She also has a cool, clear mien and courage. And she also has this authoritarian voice. If you listen to her very well.
I mean, I understand all of this, Mr. Fanimo, but does this change any possibilities of her, being incompetent or, change?
Is it possible for somebody to become a finance minister when you doubt?
We've seen female ministers involved in corruption.
See, there's a difference between being qualified and being corrupt. That's a world of difference. You can be criminally intelligent. In Senate crimes, when they know you are criminally intelligent, they use the intelligence and try to play down the criminal aspects. Why do we have professional hackers? Professional hackers are sucked in so that they won't populate themselves and be a threat to the company that is producing an app. So the fact that this woman was arraigned for corruption,
yes,
is still an allegation. It has not been proven in court, and she has not been convicted. So the law says you are innocent until you are proven guilty. So we have to give that woman the benefit of the doubt. I don't know her that close, but from afar, as a practicing journalist and somebody that I've interacted with once or twice, I know that she's intelligent. You understand? Don't forget that she's from minority in Kaduna.
Yes, she is.
So for her to have been nominated to the central cabinet, it means she stood out amongst her peers in that state.
Okay.
So for me, before you can say, before you can doubt her competence, let's give her the opportunity to do it.
Interesting. Mr. Dede Ferguson, finally, before we move on to our next topic of discussion, well, another attendee from the stakeholders meeting that happened in Abia State yesterday was the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, was Abors Rodsviver. Well, he has come out to assert and claim that Labour Party will win governorship election come 2027. According to him, well, he said that Labour Party has the strength now to take over Lagos in 2027, looking at the outcome of the 2023 elections. Well, what is your take on that quickly before we move on to our next topic?
You see, an average politician is an incurable optimist.
An average politician is...
an incurable optimist.
Okay.
Even when it's clear that you are losing an election, you keep telling people that you are on top of the situation and you will win.
Well, his optimism is coming from a particular angle. Well, he's claiming that the party, we see the party, dealing with internal crisis, but according to him, after the stakeholders meeting, he can now boldly say, well, they've come together and they're re-strategizing and they're taking over in 2027.
What makes him think that this crisis will be over before 2027?
Before 2027?
Yeah. Then two, Labour Party won in the presidential race, but it was roundly beaten 2 or 3 weeks later in the governorship race. So it should be asked, what happened between presidential and governorship?
All right. Mr. Dr. Dede Ferguson, in 1 minute, I mean, many netizens, citizens, Nigerians are crying out for genuine change. We currently see the economic crisis grappling the nation. Do you think Labour Party can successfully provide the much needed alternative in Nigeria's political governance come 2027, just judging from its own contradiction and the worsening state of the nation? 1 minute, please, Mr. Dr. Dede Ferguson.
Completely, the Labour Party in the coming 2027 journey to 2027, the Labour Party will have what it takes to turn this country around. If you go by the kind of professionals and the youngsters that we have in this country, many of them, even those who did not even proclaim or align with Labour Party in a political amalgamation from different, all Labour Party. For example, you can see the youngster, my good friend and younger brother in Edo State, who was the former president of Nigeria Labour Congress, very close to him, very close. Even the young man, Berates, was very, I won't say we are close, I can say we are very, very, very close. And you know why on the premise he's standing to say that he will do something. But my brother over there said something about, are you sure that this Holy Balloon in Labour Party will be over by 2027? Because the Ekong, who is a Labour Party chairperson in Lagos, is not even in tandem, is not in the same line with the governorship candidate of 2023. She's saying different things, even try to condemn the meeting head in Omaya, standing with Abors. That's no problem. That's not a big problem. But to tell you the truth, I think Labour Party have what it takes to turn our fortunes around this country if they are given chance. And I believe God, the person of the less Otti, a guru like him and the others, stepping in. And that woman you talk about, I think if I'm Labour Party, I will tell them, when they get to the convention, let them confirm her to be the chairperson.
All right.
Chairperson of Labour Party.
Thank you very much for that one, Dr. Ferguson. All right, moving on to a second topic of discussion. A chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Ibrahim Modibo, has said advisors and ministers of President Bola Tinubu are incompetent and deserve to be sacked. The Taraba State APC Chieftain, Ibrahim Modibo, said ministers of President Tinubu are newspaper tigers. He accused them of relying solely on textbook economics as solution to Nigeria's hunger and hardship problems than the people. Modibo, in an interview yesterday, disclosed that Tinubu's advisors are giving him wrong advice that is responsible for the economic hardship. He also appealed to Nigerians to give the president time, stating there would be light at the end of the tunnel. Now, Mr. Dede Ferguson, we see this APC chieftain declaring that the president should sack all his ministers and advisors, even labeling them newspaper tigers. Or do you agree with the senator that the president's ministers and aides should be relieved of their appointments, given that many of the appointments were made to reward loyalty?
That man is a bundle of contradiction, and I'll tell you why.
Yes, please.
See, in one breath, you are saying Tinubu should drop all his cabinet members. And yet, you are also claiming that you have confidence in the man pulling through in the economic sphere. What does that tell you? It means he's speaking from both sides of his mouth.
Mr. Dele.
So, for me, I see him as somebody who had cried enough to be let into the dining room. But unfortunately, the cry was not enough. And so he will need to cry more so that they can. These are the kind of people that when they get to the dining table, they observe table manners.
You're back again with the table manner parable. That's very interesting. I mean, Dr. Ferguson, not a few people were surprised with the ministerial list that was released last year, as many of the names didn't even inspire confidence in Nigerians. You know, some did complain of politicians who had one baggage or the other. Even others described the ministerial list as a square peg in a round hole. I mean, more than 1 year, nothing seems to be happening after the president, you know, appointed these ministers. How should the president balance political interests with a greater need to solve problems, which is what the appointment of technocrats should bring on the table?
Honestly speaking, I was among the group that postulated and said that now we have gotten a Democrat like Bola Ahmed Tinubu that this country will find their bearing. I'm among them, even though even from the people who are closer to him reported me to some certain institutions to reprimand me. And why should I say such a thing? That is a criminal, is this, is that, is that, is that. The reason why I said that, because I know he's a man who have Nigeria at his fingertips, who can be able to network within the 6 geographical region of this country. But I was surprised when he was doing his appointment. And but at the same time, I will not blame him so much. The appointment he made was because of the people he depended upon to grab the power. If you look at all the people he appointed in everywhere, in the east, in the west, in the north, in the south, in the north central, and everywhere, are the people that help him and who can stand by him. Even those in all the paramilitary and etc., the people that were recommended by the godfathers of each region. Yeah, some of them he is not even fully involved in appointing them, except those from our angle here, Lagos angle. And those people that are working with him now are the people that help him to grab power, to win an election, to make it happen for him to be the commander-in-chief. I believe God that after this he might do. So I'm not going to throw away the water with the baby or throw away the message with the messenger. What Medibo is saying is nothing but the truth, even though his person is doubt, is a person in doubt. Therefore, what he said, I want to stand with that, at least 50 to 60% in support that. The people, some of the people in this administration have spent forces, controversial men, and people who are not supposed to be there. I'm telling the truth, joke apart, from the party hierarchy to the executive, to the judiciary, to everything. People of controversial people that are laden with heavy baggage. They ought not to be there, to tell you the truth. The people that are really professional, that are really want to work for Nigerian state in his cabinet are not up to. They're not up to 20 or 30%. Therefore, a lot of people need to do away with, including some of his advisors that are causing problem. I'm telling the truth. They ought not to be there. They are bringing so many bad blood in this country and his administration.
All right.
I wish that Bola Ahmed Tinubu would be the person I know that would take, because his first tenure and second tenure in government in Lagos State was characterized with professionals and technocrats and people that deliver. You know, there was no, what we are seeing now in these 15 months are not what we experienced in his 8 years in Lagos State. He chose and raised people that are today are wonderful people that we can point and say they did well for this country and in Lagos State. But for now, he has nobody. I'm telling the truth.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Ferguson. Mr. Fanimo, you did speak about the APC Chieftain Modibo speaking from both sides of his mouth. And now he did come out to call the ministers and advisors of the president newspaper tigers, and saying, you know, specifically that they are the cause of the economic hardship because they are using, you know, we'll say textbook economics to go about the situation of the country. Well, this is not the first time we're hearing such a call. Also, the former secretary to the government, Babachir Lawal, also called, you know, the president's cabinet dead wood, insisting or saying that the president should replace his cabinet with politicians and technocrats. Now, are we going to say every minister isn't doing enough up to their...
That's the surprising thing.
I mean, are there no exceptions? You do recall we also saw the ministerial sectoral update, you know, their 1 year in office. And, you know, some people were of the opinion, did come out to say, well, what is going on here? Because they saw some ministers speaking about their ministry and it sounded like they weren't even aware of what their ministry offers. So can we say it is that for all of the ministers in this administration?
See, it couldn't have been that for all the ministers in this administration. But don't forget that when Tinubu came into government, constitutionally, he needed to appoint a minister from each state. And these ministerial nominees were the creation of the state party hierarchy. So, how many of them would Tinubu have known before becoming the president? And so, they presumably chose the ones that they consider as best. And you know politicians, those who serve their interests are the ones they will nominate. But Tinubu was very smart. The real working tool of Tinubu administration were those people that were appointed shortly after he became the minister, I mean the president.
Like who? Please mention.
The essays. And they are the ones working on the ground. Like that woman that is working in the energy sector, the power sector, you know, and some few others. You know, it was later he upgraded somebody like Dele Alake to become a minister. It was an essay. You understand?
Yes.
And Dele Alake is trying his best in the mineral, solid mineral sector.
And minerals ministry.
You understand?
Yes.
But the point is, as at that time, Tinubu couldn't have gone against his party by insisting that he would throw out some people or that he would not accept the list given to him. But all he needed to do was, I remember a case in point when Saraki Jr. became the governor of Kwara State. The father insisted that he was going to nominate all the commissioners. And he was at loggerheads with his father. But they told him, I said, look, allow this man to appoint whoever he wants to appoint. But appoint essays in such ministries. So throughout his tenure as governor, he will sit with the appointed commissioners by his father in the day, and he will sit down with essays in the night to do the job.
So you're saying there are no exceptions? Like there are some ministers that are still doing well in this administration?
You can't do you have that carpet.
One minister at least that you can mention that is doing well in this administration?
See, I tell you, Edun is doing well.
Minister of Finance.
Finance.
All right,
well.
Thank you very much for that one, Mr.
This guy, except for the tar that was rubbed on him during the Edu crisis, Tunji Ojo, is also doing well.
All right.
Because he has made some remarkable reforms in the internal affairs, interior ministry.
Yes. Oh, thank you very much for that one. We have to wrap up the show now. Thank you for joining me on the show this evening, Mr. Dele Ferguson.
Always my pleasure.
And thank you for gracing the show this evening, Dr. Femi Ferguson.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful. Thank you.
All right. Oh, that is all we can take on Political Voice today. Do not forget to subscribe to all social media platforms at VOP TV Live, and on YouTube, we're at Voice of the People TV. Many thanks for watching. I am Kayla Abraham. Political Voice will return tomorrow.